Good evening, one and all. Welcome back. Happy New Year to you. It is New Year. Last time I spoke to you, it was 2022, and it is now 2023. Good evening, and welcome to the tNb Gaming Podcast, episode number 71. This is, just excuse me, I was going to pause this so we don't have any interruptions. There we go. Yeah, so episode number 71, and tonight, or today, depending on when you're watching this, we're going to be talking about the 52 game challenge, which you may wonder what on earth that is. Well, we'll explain more a bit later on. A couple of the tNb lads are involved in that, and we'll also got our special guest this evening as well. Happy to say that we're missing a panelist and our guest at the moment, but don't worry, these things never get a plan, do they? But we'll get there in the end anyway. Hope you're well. A lot of stuff going around at the moment, as you may have heard. Very good viewers to my channel would have heard that Mrs. Bear's not been very well. She is on the mend, getting there slowly. I think she's over the worst of it now, but I'd like to thank everybody who sent her some good luck messages and best wishes messages to her as well. Thank you very much indeed for that. Hope everybody is fit, healthy, and ready to go. And let's see what this year brings. Let's see who's in the chat first of all. I've got Susie's here. Good evening, Susie. Happy New Year to you. Joe's here, Joe Gaming Girl. If you've not seen Joe's put a video out, I think it was a couple of days ago, some Resident Evil stuff she's had. So if that's your thing, go across and have a look at her channel, Pixel Plug. Good evening to you. Nice to see you back once again, making a resurgence on YouTube, which is good to see. Former YouTuber of the year. You can't say that anymore now. Generation Pixel. I don't know what we're going to call you now from now on, Stu. I have to think of a natty title for you. Former YouTuber of the year. Sounds all right, doesn't it? But it sort of sounds like, former president of the United States. I don't know. Anyway, good evening to you, mate. All right, David. Retro Games played badly. Hello, mate. Nice to see you. You said you'd pop into the chat tonight. Good to see you here. Ross is here. Previous panelist. The Lamer Gamer, John. Good evening. Change your name, John. You'll have to explain that to me. I think we missed you yesterday. I know you popped down to Dana's, and we popped in there in the afternoon as well. So I think we missed you on that one, but hope we'll bump into you again soon enough. Tetley's here. Good evening, Lee. I hope you're okay, mate. 58 was my final count last year. They was bragging about it. 52 games, got 58. There we go. I need to brag about it. I think I looked at 58 games. Retro Drome Music. There we go. I started this new year off in January by pronouncing it right without getting it wrong. Happy New Year. All the best of 2023. And to you, my friend, as well. Good to see you here. David managed 14 games. Martin from the Hobby Lodge is here. Good evening, Martin. 37 Retro. Good evening to you, my friend. Hope you're okay. Happy New Year to you as well. I'll let the chat suggest a new title for me. That might be dangerous, Stu. I don't know. We'll have to say. They could call it something completely unsuitable. They could not. Anyway, yeah, just for those interested, I'm sporting a Dragon 32 t-shirt tonight. There we go. That's a new one. I had this for my birthday, I think it was. It's just like a felt emboss on it, which is quite nice. So there we go. Before we get started tonight, by the way, because we've now got 3/4 of the guests this evening, so we'll just do this very, very quickly. For those of you who may, I was talking about Hidden Chest Gaming before, my friend Danester on YouTube, as you may know, he and his close friend Ant Harper, who's now moved into Hidden Chest Gaming, Retro Gear, I think is the official title. They've opened this week again back up. And Dana's put together a local event here in the Dudley area of the West Midlands. So I just want to mention this very, very quickly. I should mention I'm not being paid to do this. I'm doing this off my own bat. I'm not affiliated with this in any way, shape, or form, just in case somebody thinks I'm trying to cream some money on the side or something. I'm not. So we've got the Black Country Games Fair, which is running on Sunday, the 26th of February. And that's at the Arena Combat Archery Centre. So bring your arrows and your bows and your Robin Hood outfits. 106A Little Cottage Street, Briley Hill. And the postcode there is DY5. 1RG, Delta Yankee 5 1RG. It's got early bird tickets available for a couple of quid and free entry after 11. I'm guessing it's going to be between 10 and 4. The one thing it doesn't say on here is what time it's open. Also, you can go and look at the website, which is blackcountryevents.com. There are tables available for sellers. I think they've sold over 50% of the allocation already. There are early bird tickets available for a couple of quid and then free entry. And there's a pub next to it as well. All catered for. 26th of February, if you're not doing anything, get yourself, in the words of Big Game Al, get yourself down there. worth doing. I presume a few YouTubers will be talking about this in the weeks to come. A lot of local traders. We always talk about the local traders in this area and the independent shops. Most of those have got tables there as well. So it's a fantastic day out in plan. Get yourself down there. Well worth doing it. Just quickly back to the chat. The artist formerly known as Generation Pixel. There we go. Didn't think they would make a Dragon 32 sheet. I'm not sure there's much demand for them, Ross, to be honest, but there we go. As David said, there are more Dragon 32 t-shirts and Dragon 32 computers. If you don't know what Dragon 32 was, it was a computer made in Wales, mainly aimed at the farming community. But we can fill you in on a bit later on that one anyway. Ooh, just noticed the Dragon 32 t-shirt. There we go. Paying attention. Right, let's bring our panelists, and I'm going to bring them both in together because they're sitting there waiting. So let's bring them in tonight. The tNb guys are here. Our guest is going to be a little bit late, but we'll bring him in when he's here. First of all, let's say a very good evening to Pete Fighter 2 and Sean at Retro Games Revive. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How are we all? We all well?
Oh yeah, super.
Yep. Certainly are.
Full of enthusiasm. That's what I like to say. Most subdued entrance ever. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah. Fine. Start of a new year. You know, season 3 officially starts tonight. You believe?
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
Season 3 of this, incredibly professional broadcast. How we managed that? 71 episodes and three seasons.
71.
Yeah, your age.
Nice.
Yeah. That's just sort of ruined one of my lines from later on, so I'll have to forget that one. But yeah, dear. Let's start with Pete. I mean, obviously, we were all on the one before Christmas. Oh, Pete, you weren't, were you? You were on the one before Christmas. Yeah. So how's the last few weeks been for you? Christmas and etc. and New Year.
It's not been bad. I've been battling the lurg, which a lot of people have. But other than that, can't complain. It's been a nice Christmas, all things considered.
Natty t-shirt you're wearing as well, I've got to say.
Oh, thank you.
I just noticed that.
Yeah.
I pirated it myself. No, I got it printed myself. I don't just pirate games, I'll rob anything that's not nailed down. I'm from Sheffield, so it's part of the culture here. As they say on Red Dwarf, everyone else went scrumping for apples, but over here we go scrumping for cars.
That's it. Yeah. Car radios.
I was going to plug the Black Country Games Fair. Actually, are you going, Russ?
I believe so. Yes. There's no excuse for me not going to this one, is there? It's like literally 3 miles up the road. If I don't make this one, then
you can't really plug it and then not turn up, can you?
No, I shall be there. I don't plan that far in advance, but yeah, it would be stupid not to do that. Plus, something it's local event, and it's been run by somebody who most of us know anyway. So yes, I shall be there.
Well, me and Sean will be rolling across there, won't we?
I'm sure will. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you've been talking about it. So yep. You got yours sorted already. Brilliant.
Yep, early birds as well.
So. Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Well, more people support it, the better. And like I said, you two guys coming down from at least a couple of hours away. Coming down.
Sean's probably got he's probably got to drive away from it to get to me, and then
no,
double leg.
No,
is it on the way?
It's on the way.
I failed geography. It's fine.
Well, you got a fan in the chat, Sean. I love Sean. He always brightens my day.
Oh, that's nice. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, John. Yeah, John. There we go. As Pixel Plug says, it would be rude not to go. Yeah, he lives. He actually lives even closer than I do. I think so. Absolutely no excuse to. Quick question for me: are you coming to Doncaster? When is Doncaster? Is that the 5th?
The 5th, yeah.
5th of December. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, David. To be honest with you.
Yeah, you should.
I'll have to see how I'm feeling. Don't think I've got anything on anyway. In the meantime,
car with Dana.
He'll try and sell me. I said that before. He's, put a price tag on me before you know it. I'm ended up in Skip Rat's bedroom or something like that as an acquisition.
Skip Rat doesn't mix with the lesser folk,
What about you, Sean? How's your Christmas and New Year been?
It's been good, mate. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Nice chilled Christmas, really. I was back on Boxing Day nights, but then I had New Year's off. Again, chilled out, nice and chilled out. I went back for 4 shifts and now I'm on 12 off. So we'll see, saying
2 hours when you're driving, yeah.
Well, they're calling me crazy there.
So you're on 12 days off?
I am indeed, yeah. Well, 10 now.
Yeah, dear mate.
Used to them, but yeah. So
that seems like a long time ago. That does, or that long holiday I had. It just, I don't know, over Christmas just sort of disappeared and vanished and stuff. Susie's cleared a place on the mantelpiece. You need a big mantelpiece, Susie. It's been about Christmas, so it's going to be a lot bigger than it was before started work on it anyway. Dear me. Right. Before we get into anything further, our next guest has arrived. Hot foot from the cinema. Oh yeah, I'll let him explain.
I thought it was you later on.
Apparently it was earlier than he thought it was. Or they just
good.
brought it forward because nobody else wanted to go, probably. I don't know. But also quite interestingly, he was the first, when we first started doing these live streams, if you remember when we moved from doing the pre-recorded stuff to live streams, he was our first guest. And we discussed horror games, which might give it away a little bit as to who we got. But it's a welcome return to the tNb gaming podcast. Very good friend of ours, Mark, Geordie Slasher Gaming is here.
Hello.
Good evening. I love Whitney, which gives you an idea of where you may have been to watch what you've been watching at the cinema then.
I went to see Whitney Houston's biography. It was absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, I didn't have you. I didn't have you down as a Whitney fan. I didn't have you down as a Whitney fan.
I love Whitney. Always have done. I like all of the the music biography things that they do. Going all the way back to Tina Turner's in the 90s. I remember watching that. I went to see the Elvis one a few months ago. I love them all. This was a really good.
Yeah. Well, me and Pete for some reason ended up watching the Tina Turner documentary on Christmas Day, didn't we, Pete, on BBC Two?
Oh yeah. There were loads of them, just one after each other.
It's like there was an hour of Tina Turner music, then there was a documentary, then there was the What's Love Got to Do with It film.
I have no idea how we even got onto that, but we just ended up watching Tina Turner all night. It was.
I just got a random message in our chat on WhatsApp. He's saying for some reason I'm watching Tina Turner. I sort of replied, "Yes, so am I." Why?
The best thing though is we left halfway through the second program. We went to go home because we were at my sister's house. Went outside to wait for the Uber. Turned around and looked at her next door neighbour's window, and their TV's on view, and they were watching Tina Turner. Strange, isn't it? I don't know how that managed.
Well, she won an Oscar, Angela Bassett, for playing Tina Turner.
She did indeed. I've never seen that film. I've never seen it because I'm not really. I said to Pete this time, I'm not a massive fan of Tina Turner at all. It's a dance that used to put me off. When she got later in life, she looked like a giraffe on ice, just basically trying to walk for the first time. It was absolutely horrible viewing. But when you watch the old stuff. She could, when she was a lot younger, she could really move. Just for anybody watching, we're not talking about Tina Turner tonight. We've just gone to subjects, games featuring Tina Turner. I don't think there were any.
So it's interesting you're saying when she was younger though, because I was commented when we were watching it on Christmas Day that she's like Ric Flair. I don't ever actually remember seeing her young. She's just always been old.
No.
Yeah,
a few good bumps from Ike.
Yes.
That's a bit dark.
Sorry. Sometimes I forget I'm not on my channel.
That's all right. That's all right. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. You're right though. You're right. He was a bit like that, but that's an amazing life she had and whatever. Anyway, we'll do a Tina Turner special in the future if you want, and we'll bring everybody back for that one. Nick's here, Red 7. Good evening to you, mate. Hope you're okay. Happy New Year. John says Westlife Fest Whitney would be Mark's squirt dream. I know Mark's like a bit of the old Westlife anyway. So Mark is a big Spice Girls fan, so there's no shock there. Love Tina Turner's cameo in Psychoville. I don't think I've seen that.
I don't know what that is. Is that the spin-off from the League of Gentlemen?
I'm thinking that, yes, which has been
didn't know
spun off
so.
into the number 10 thing, hasn't it? Or down at number 9 or whatever it's called now. Can't remember. Can we ask Mark his answers to his own Spice Girls questions?
So if it was the 90s, it'd be Sporty number 5, Posh Spice number 4, Baby number 2, Baby number 3, Jerry number 2, and Mel B number 1. But if it was now, it'd be Sporty, then Mel B, then Ginger, then Posh,
She's dropped.
then Baby. Yeah, just nuts about Mel B.
You just like hear all the women stopping watching this.
Yeah, they're not saying an awful lot, though. I must be honest with you. But, as David said, it didn't take Mark long to drag the stream down. Wasn't Tina Turner also in Demolition Man? No, yeah, she was in Mad Max 3, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Mad Max 3. And Sarkaville, it is by the guys from the League of Gentlemen. So you were right there, Mark. But yeah, so we'll have.
I didn't know they'd done a spin-off. I never know they did a spin-off.
I don't think it was a spin-off. I think it was just the same guys.
Oh. Yeah, it's not. Actually, I think it's actually the same characters and such. I've never actually seen it myself. I didn't like the League of Gentlemen.
David not
anyway.
making a joke there that Tina Turner looks like Wesley Snipes? Was that what he was trying to think? He might have been trying to be clever there.
He'll have to defend himself on that one as such. But there we go. Anyway, we'll obviously announce our 90s, 80s and 90s pop star special stream for the future. Right, in the meantime, let's try and get back to where we were. We'll talk about the 52 game challenge very, very shortly. But we always ask people at the start, anything they've been playing. Again, just to go give us the edited highlights. So I'll start with Pete, because we always do. Anything that you played recently that you want to recommend at all, Pete?
I've been on a little bit of a rut, to be honest. I've not been able to find much that's kept my attention. But the best sort of games I've been playing at the minute are the Alwa series on Evercade and Switch, the Alwa's Awakening and Alwa's Legacy, which are like sort of modern retro style Metroidvania games. Played the first one on Evercade and I loved it that much that I bought the Switch collection, which has both of them on it, and I've played through the second one on Switch. And they are coincidentally my first 2 games on my 52 game challenge this year. So yeah, I really love those. But apart from that, I've been I tried having a deep sort of go on Cyberpunk, and I know Mark's going to disagree with me on this one, but God, it's shit. It really is shit. It's like I'd heard that they fixed it, but like I was stuck on a mission because there was like a big sort of garage door in between me and about 40 enemies, and they could both see me and shoot me through this garage door. But I couldn't do it back to them. And opening the door took that long. The animation of opening the door took so long that I was dead before I'd managed to actually do it. I managed to find another way around, like through a top level. I was in like an old shopping mall. I don't know if you remember the bit, Mark. I was in like an old shopping mall, and they were all like these sort of gym rat kind of enemies.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get to a van or something. And I went around the top way, and I'd kept just dropping dead for no reason. My character, I'd be like fighting him off, and then all of a sudden my character had just dropped dead from full health, like for no reason whatsoever. So yeah, it's obviously not as fixed as they would like you to think. But I know, Mark, you said you got through the whole game without any glitches or anything.
Yeah, I was lucky. I must have just been lucky. I didn't have any bugs or glitches.
There's been games like that for me where I've played through it and not had any glitches, where everyone else has said it's really buggy. So I guess it's just luck of the draw, but it just everything seemed to affect me on that one bit. I'd already got bored of the side quests and was just trying to sort of soldier through the main storyline anyway, but that was part of the main storyline and I just couldn't seem to progress, so wasn't enjoying it.
Pete, is it like a futuristic GTA?
No, it's more like sort of like Fallout or Borderlands, but you're in like sort of a future city which is surrounded by desert. So it's more role-playing game kind of thing. You can still drive around in cars and stuff like GTA, but it's like when you get out of the cars, it goes to like a first-person shooter. But it's not like a first-person shooter where you can like headshot people and stuff. It's all down to stats and things like, you're taking hit points off people and stuff like a role-playing game. It's as boring as it sounds. So yeah, I put a good 12 hours into that, and I just really, really hated it. So that's gone. I've been playing Fist of the North Star: Lost Paradise on the PS4, which it's sort of like it's basically one of the it's a Yakuza game. It's made by the Yakuza people. It plays like a Yakuza game, but it's like licensed to the Fist of the North Star anime. And I've been sort of like toying between playing it or not, because I love Yakuza, but I hate anime. I just don't get it. But yeah, I decided to go in on it. It was 20 quid, and it's good. The gameplay is good. I didn't like it at first, but I've had a good few hours on it today, and it's really growing on me. But anime is stupid. It really is. It's absolutely batshit. I don't get it. The people say sentences that don't make any kind of sense at all. And I don't know. And for some reason, everyone's muscular as hell in this game as well. I was on about it in one of the group chats earlier. It's like the town doctor that you find is like he looks like Jesse Ventura, the old wrestler. It's just huge with like his mustache thing going on. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm going to stick with it. But that's pretty much where I'm at, really. I've just not been in the mood for gaming lately.
No, well, that's it. You know, it's one of those hobbies you can pick up and put down. You know, we don't all play games 24/7, do we? You know, it's
just Mark.
Just Mark. Yeah, it's sort of tenuous link there. I sort of opened my mouth and said something. I thought, hang on a second, he does seem to play games 24/7, but possibly the only one anyway. But James is here, retro import gamer. If you want to see what we mentioned, hidden chest, so it's not like a self-promotion. If you want to see what the shop actually looks like, James has done a video on that. If you want to get an idea of what it is, go across there. It's completely changed from how it certainly looked originally. Pixel Plug saying, I'm the same with Final Fantasy and Zelda, just don't get it. Yeah, I must admit I am the same. I've tried to play both those. People say sentences that don't make sense at all, and yet here we all are in this stream. Yeah.
That's rich coming from a Scottish man.
I was going to say, yeah. Paul's here, the Ink Northerner as well. Hope you're okay, Paul. Paul's just had the shoulder operation, so I hope you're recovering well, mate, and be back on your feet soon. Best wishes from us all here on the podcast. Sean, anything to share with us game-wise?
Well, are we going to be covering what we've played in this 52 game challenge?
Well, if he crosses over into the 2, I'll let you decide how you want to sort of do it. I mean, I'm not, wanting a rundown of what you've been playing for the 52 game challenge. Just, a couple. If you've been playing as part of the 52 game challenge, great. But if there's anything that you want to recommend,
well, I have, so I'll leave them for later. But I've got something to show Pete actually. I think Pete might appreciate.
Can we do that now?
This.
It's before 9 o'clock. Yeah. Can we do that? Apparently we can. Yeah.
Can you remember I ordered this, Pete? It doesn't say it on the box. It's like
what is it?
It's one of these Chinese knockoff things. But it's slightly better than your usual Chinese knockoff. It's the Pow Kiddie.
Oh yeah.
It's quite a decent little bit of kit actually. It's not, the screen's not massive, but the screen is pretty decent quality. This isn't doing it justice at all. We've got the usual Famicom, Mega Drive, Genesis, but we've got PlayStation on there as well.
How well does that run?
It's not bad. It's not bad. There is a little bit of lag every now and then, especially with cutscenes. But the actual game itself, the games itself, they're running pretty decent. I've been playing Crash Bandicoot on it, and it don't run too bad. I can't knock it at all, mate, to be honest, for a little thing.
Cool.
But yeah.
How much did that set you back then?
That was 55. There is a better version than this, slightly bigger, and these shoulder buttons, where are we? They're like underneath.
That's much better.
But obviously, they're more expensive. But yeah, I'm quite impressed with that so far.
It's no Evercade, apparently.
It isn't, no. And it is, I mean, it is quite small and it's, a bit fiddly. But overall, quite impressed. I'm going to do a review
Oh, good. Oh, good. We look forward to that one.
Yeah.
I heard that 99% of Evercade owners didn't know what to do at Christmas when they had to open the presents because they're just used to leaving everything sealed and wrapped up. That's just a rumor that I've heard. I don't know.
It's all right though, because none of the Evercade owners actually got their Christmas present either because it got nicked.
You mentioned that previously, didn't you? Yeah, you went to get yours before Christmas, and
it's going to be March now, apparently.
I
mean,
what
I'm
were you
not
doing
complaining
till
too much. I've probably played one of my other 4 Evercades.
Not short of them then.
No, I'm using one as a coaster now. It's fine. It's the one that Sean gave me, so I don't know it.
You probably thought they were on the same airplane that Tommy Tamarico tried to get on the other day. His briefcase full of cash. Just go back to some of the comments. Dan is still looking loads better. The 8-bit collection is amazing. It is, no doubt about that. Going back to what I've been playing, David says, I've been trudging through the nuclear waste in Fallout 3 at the minute. Wanted something upbeat and Christmassy to start the year. Oh, dear me. That's a good one. Tetley says, I found my old Open Pandora the other day. Trouble is I can't remember how to use it now.
I've got Pandora's box on the side. I've no idea what to do with it. I just bought it in a bundle. I don't know what I'm doing with it. It's just sat there.
PlayStation emulation should be no problem. Well, unless you're Sony, you can't seem to do it. Not a high bar, says Martin. Ollie's here, 8-bit boy. Good evening. Going back to the Evercade, I'm in the 1% there. Then says Paul, the Ink Northerner. And David says, does anybody want to buy a black limited edition Evercade? I've got hundreds. That's where they ended up. There we go. Is there anything else, Sean? Sorry, I went off the comments there and hadn't checked if you'd finished or not.
No, mate.
No, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Sorry, mate. I moved around very quickly. Same sort of question to you then, Mark. I mean, obviously we're going to talk more about the 52 game challenge in a bit, but I mean, is there anything that you've played recently that you'd like to sort of highlight as a recommendation to those who are watching and might be of interest to them?
Maybe not recommendations, but I sent my Nintendo Mini and my SNES Mini off to Tootie, and they just came back on Friday. So I've got like hundreds of games that, and this morning before I went to my mum's, I was just messing around with, some of the games that I'd always wanted to play. I put Nightmare on Elm Street on the Nintendo, Adventures of Batman and Robin on the Super Nintendo. So I've just been messing around with that today, not going too much into the games that I've done so far for the 52 game challenge. So I think that I'm going to play quite a bit of them over the next week or so. Just pick one every week and try and play some of the games that I always used to drool about, reading the magazines as a kid. That I never have.
How do those 2 games hold up to you? You gave us those 2 examples. I mean, having waited so long to play them, did they sort of match your expectation?
Adventures of Batman Robin, it's really, really good, what I've played so far. Freddy, the Nightmare on Elm Street was never meant to be good, but because it's Nightmare on Elm Street, it's one that I've always wanted to play. It just seems like a platformer from the 80s that could have had any genre chucked on it. It's not necessarily has to be Nightmare on Elm Street. It's just the Nintendo will make a platformer and we'll just chuck one character in that resembles the film and we'll call it that and it'll sell more copies. It just seems a bit like that, to be honest.
or not resemble the film in some cases. They just make a platform game out of it and whack the license on it, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
Rambo and Terminator, for example. Dirty Harry's another one. The Dirty Harry game, I mean, snakes. I've seen Dirty Harry. I don't know enough times to know there's not one bloody snake in that film. Let alone the Nintendo game's crap full of them, and Johnson Elm Street is so ass, which is probably about right anyway. The Adventures of Batman and Robin, I think that was based on, was it animated series? Yeah,
it's the animated series, which I know loads of people have got fond memories of it. I never remember watching it on telly as a kid.
I don't remember seeing it either. I remember seeing the Batman the animated series when that started, and I've seen other ones, but I don't remember that one at all.
Yeah, Batman and Robin was the follow-up to the animated series. It was like the same sort of continuation. It was called The New Batman Adventures in America, so that's what a lot of people know it as. But it was good. It wasn't as good because it was sort of more sort of less sort of grimy. It was more kind of polished than the original one, and it was more sort of aimed at kids, but it was still really good.
When did that come out? Was it mid-90s? Was it?
Yeah, it will have been. Because I think first one was 92 or something like that, was it? Or 90, it was either 90 or 92, and so this one will have been sort of 94, 95, I think. And then it went on to Batman of the Future and then on to Justice League. So
yeah,
it's a really long-running series.
I don't know. I remember there was a big fanfare about it when it came out because that was when they were trying to move into more less cartoony and more grittier cartoon animation with the storylines to match it, so a little bit darker than the stuff we've been used to. But I don't really get that. I'm not a massive fan of. I said before, I like cartoons involve cats and mice hitting each other with bricks and planks of wood and things like that. That's cartoons I enjoy. So I don't get the more adult theme stuff. I mean, I used to be a huge comic book fan, but like when they brought out the X-Men animated series and the Spider-Man animated series, it just didn't appeal to me in the slightest. I just couldn't get into it.
It was coming off Alan Moore and stuff like that in the 80s, or wasn't it? When
That's
they
right.
started doing these cartoons in the 90s. So maybe that's got a lot to do with it.
A lot of it was coming off the Tim Burton Batman films as well.
Well, yeah, that did change things because I mean, read so many comic books in the 80s. It was a different art style to say mid 80s to say 10 years later, and it was completely different. And now I can't relate to it at all. I just can't relate to it, unfortunately. But that's me, isn't it? So one of those. I'm a strange old stick at the best of times. Joe's been playing 7800 and Fatal Frame on the Switch and just completed Resident Evil DS. Wow, she's been busy. That's a nice little. That's a very wide range of titles there. But I did see a few 7800 games yesterday because I haven't got my first 7800 game yet. I'm still trying to find the right one to pick up, but I may well do that next week. Props. Chris is here, Retro 48K. Good evening, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Nice to see you on here again. It's been a while since we've spoken, but you've put a video out the other day saying, or he post out the other day. I can't remember the post or a video, but why you've been busy the last 6 months or so. But anyway, I hope you're well. Good to see you here. Mid-90s, Sean would have been in his 60s then. Would that be about right? It's not just me who takes the piss, Sean. Everybody else is doing it now.
He's going to be able to relate to me this year. He's still.
I was going to say, yeah, he is, isn't he?
Both turned 50. I'm 50 this next week, Wednesday.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah.
Well,
on Wednesday?
On Wednesday, yeah.
Are we having this live stream?
I don't know, because I'll be in York.
They'll be too pissed.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I'd known that. I didn't know it was your birthday next week.
No, you got that one quiet.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I'll have to give him the bumps on the 26th, Pete.
50 of them.
Well, 5. I don't know. We're all a bit older now. You got back injuries and trying to pick.
I'll see him on the 5th, so I'll start then. Just so my arm don't get tired.
Yeah, every time we see Sean, we've got to try and work it off throughout the year. 5 each time we see him. Oh dear. Yeah, Stuart said he's got 3 weeks left. There we go. So Generation Pixel's birthday is at the end of January. So send him a card. 50. Dave said he's still in his early 20s. Yep. I'm not sure any people is convincing with that one. Dane's just here. Hello, mates. Sean's only 10 years older than me. Get over. Yeah, I know. Anyway, mind you, like you said, look, it's going to be 50 next year. It makes me feel a lot younger. I don't feel so old now, and I'm sort of classed as one of the older members of the YouTube retro gaming lot. But I'm not quite there yet. Still got a few years on that one. Right, okay. So let us then get on to what we're talking about this week, which is the 52 game challenge, which is why we've got Mark here. Now, the great thing about this, and once again, what I find myself doing more and more on each episode is knowing less and less what we're talking about, which is really, really strange. But I know a little bit about this, but I've never actually got involved. But what we've got is we've got people here who partake in this challenge, and I'll let Mark fill us in a little bit more about what it is in a second. And Mark, Pete, and Sean are all taking part this year. Sean, I think you're doing it for the first time, aren't you?
I am, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a newcomer. We've got somebody sitting over here who's done it. How many years have you done that, Pete? Couple of years, isn't it?
This is my fourth year.
And the man below me here, who's an absolute machine when it comes to
Machine.
completing games. There's no doubt about it. How many did you complete last year, Mark? Just out of,
Between 130 and 140, I think.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. The idea of the 52 game challenge is it's one a week, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wasn't working for 6 months. So
I know there were obviously different circumstances per
Yeah.
individual, etc. But I mean, yeah, to complete 130, 140. Yeah, that and you're up to 53 already this year, is that right?
No, I'm only on 6 so far. I'm
6.
yeah.
It's only the 8th of January. It's I thought we'd go watch Whitney. You'd have got a quick couple of hours in and
He had
you
his
know.
Switch with him.
had the Switch with us. Yeah, we had the Switch. I was watching it.
So, I'll just very quickly go back to the comments, and then we'll ask Mark to go into a bit more detail about this. Dan says, "Nice to see Julie Slash on before he melts and changes his channel name again." I don't think that's going to be the case, is it? Play Tendo guys here. It probably is. Play Tendo guys here. Good evening to you. Hope you're okay. 11 months for me. Gutted about this. Chris, it's a 365 game challenge for Mark this year, and even then it will barely be a challenge. Game a day. 152. So everybody knows it. They've sort of established where we are with this one. Play Tender guy. I've been playing Evil West on PS5 over the weekend. Really fun time. Reminds me of those old daft PS2, PS3 mid-tier games you don't get much these days. You're nodding your head there, Mark, because you know that one.
It reminded me what I've seen in the trailers, a bit of Dark Watch on the PlayStation 2, the first-person shooter. It's like a Western shooter. It looks like in the trailers, but with monsters and stuff. It looked okay. I'll wait for a price drop.
Stu says they were all Barbie games, Mark, so that's why you completed so many. I think, does that count? Yes, they do. It's a game.
Life, I was playing Barbie on the Nintendo today. I didn't mention it before, but I swear down my bed's life I was playing Barbie. She wasn't in the room.
Mark beats more games in a week than I do in a year, says James. And John says he's taking part this year. Has completed Starhawk on the Game Boy and currently running through Scooby-Doo on PS2. There's 3 Scooby-Doo games on the PS2, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to do the Mega Drive one, the Mega Drive Scooby-Doo game.
Because that's like
always been.
That's proper Scooby-Doo, isn't it, Pete? Yeah.
It's a point and click adventure. That's all I know about it, and it's like ever since I learned about it, I've been it's been in the back of my mind. I should try this game out, but I've never got to it. But maybe that'll be on the list this year.
Yeah, you got First Fright, you got Mystery Mayhem, and you got Night of 100. Is it 100 or 1,000?
1,001 frights.
Yeah, so yes, there's 3 on the PlayStation too. They've all got varying degrees of. I thought they might nail the theme tune and the opening titles, but each 3 of the games managed to cock up at least one of them each time round. It really infuriates me because if you're paying for a Scooby-Doo license, pay for the rights to do the bloody opening sequence and use the proper music. But there you go. I care about the little things, don't I?
There's 3 Casper games as well, I think, on the PS2.
There's 3 what? Sorry.
I think there's 3 Casper games as well on the PS2.
There's definitely. I know I've definitely got 1.
I'm sure there's 3.
They'd be Blast, wouldn't they? Blast games.
Yeah.
Sean, you used to have all those, didn't you? I think.
I used to tell them, yeah, Caspers.
Susie completes 3 games a year. The Dragon Age one, so she needs the 4th one to come out soon. Ross has done 5 in the first 4 days of the month of back of work, so right now. Did 3 today, but not going to count them. Okay. Alan's here. Good evening, Al. Hope you're all right.
He's here. He's Al.
Putting some gaming videos up, his game collections, and and his eBay selling videos. So I shouldn't talk about that in case anybody's watching. I've been playing the Cowabunga Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collection on the Switch. That's some old school fun.
As kids, how good would that? When we were growing up, that Cowabunga collection is like the dream, isn't it? To have all them games on one cart. We would have died as kids to have that.
It is, but having played it, I was really disappointed by how some of them had aged because some of them are just not good now.
See, for me, I'd only been interested in the arcade game. because that was the one I played, and I was disappointed anybody when that big, the Turtles are coming to all the home systems for Christmas, and it would turn out to be the conversion of the Nintendo game, not the arcade game, which is what I wanted to play. And then of course I know they brought it out afterwards, but
even the first arcade game I don't think really held up that well. Turtles in Time really did, and so did the Mega Drive one. Yeah, which I think was probably
Hyperstone, wasn't it? Hyperstone.
Yeah, which was actually it's probably my favorite one of the lot of them, that because it felt more like sort of more Mega Drive, if you get what I mean. It felt more like Streets of Rage or Golden Axe in just like the rhythm of the fighting. But I just found, especially the Game Boy ones, they were tragic. But I didn't enjoy playing a lot of them. Which, I don't know, it could just be me. But...
I'm easily pleased, obviously.
Evil West is only £35 in game at the minute. Going back to that one, I'll keep going in, but it's never in stock. Play Tender got it for 20 quid from Smize. It was the last copy they had and discounted it extra because of it. Oh, well, there we go. Get a bit of a bargain when you walk in. Question for Al: when you're putting your gin up on eBay? Are you allowed to put gin on eBay? I don't know. Dana's going for the 52 women challenge this year. That's either 52 women or women over 52. Al's busy making his videos. He just filmed the games room tour. Yeah, I've got 19 seconds worth, which you posted onto the chat. I don't think we need to see anything else. That's it. I've seen it now. I don't need to see anything else. So there we go. John says there's actually five Scooby-Doo games in the PlayStation 2. Are there?
The 5.
No, I'm sure there's 3.
I'm sure there's 3.
Because that PS2 horror collection is finished. I'm not getting any more.
I know there's a couple on the PlayStation 1. It was Cyber Chase, certainly, which you can pretty much get anywhere. But anyway, okay. Well, if you find out which one they are, John, let us know. But I think I'm with Mark on that one because I've got all 3 of them. Okay, right. Anyway, back to the 52 game challenge. So, Mark, give us a little bit of insight as to what this is and what it actually entails and how you got involved in it.
So I got involved through Pete. Actually, it was Pete and Eddie. They were the ones who give me a heads up about it. I think it started on a forum online. It wasn't someone just coming up with it and making a YouTube video. I think that's how it started.
Retro Collect forums, years back. I was never on it, but Eddie was. But carry on.
Yeah, so it was them two that had given me the heads up about it, and I was like, well, I play quite a few games anyway, so I'll just give it a go. So basically, all it is you've just got to play games throughout the year and try and beat one a week till you get to 52 games. It's that simple. Like there's on the forums, I would imagine there's loads of rules and stuff, like being arsey and that. But we just do it for fun. We've got a little WhatsApp group, and we just share the games we beat and like our thoughts on the games. It's just a way for us geeks to talk about what we love and to do what we love. Playing games with no rules. Like I said, there is probably rules on the forums. You can't play this game, and it's got to be beat on the. We just want to have fun, and that's what rugby is.
I know on Retro Collect they have like rules like you can't do mobile games, which I think is bullshit because some mobile games take longer to beat than other games. They have things like you're not allowed to use save states and all that kind of thing, but I think we've all got our own set of rules really for it. I mean, the only rule I impose on myself is really that I don't want to do it with like just a fighting game with an arcade mode like Tekken 2 or something, because I could just clear out 52 of them in like an afternoon, really.
Yeah.
And I don't. And if I finish an arcade game with like unlimited credits, I will count that, but I'll try and offset it. Like, say if I did one of them, I'd try and up it to 53 games, sort of thing. That's mainly just to shut Eddie up, though, because he seems to like he's more into like sort of like a proving yourself kind of thing, whereas like he wants to prove himself by doing harder games and not counting the easier games and things like that. Whereas me, I play games to relax, so I just want to do it just to see these games through. It's just an excuse to get games off your shelf and dust them off and play them, because there's far too much around like the community itself of just people not playing games, just buying them, sticking them on a shelf and never looking at them again. So
I don't know where you get that impression from. No idea.
So it's a good excuse to just getting these games off your shelf and giving them a go. And you might find games that you absolutely love that you wouldn't even thought of playing. You might find games that you've been meaning to play for ages that are shite, like Cyberpunk. But
which we went into earlier. Right. Before we quick on further, we got a Scooby-Doo update. For any teachers watching, there are two ways of working. We got there are 5 Scooby-Doo games on the PlayStation 2, and then there is 5 Scooby-Doo games on the PlayStation 2. So any teachers watching, we've got both variations on that one. Mark's just vacated the premises, but Stuart says a horror collection won't be finished until you get Shadow Hearts games. Oh.
Well, stand by for future pickups because they might be in there. Eddie's been selling up.
There we go. So Mark, officially, we do actually have 5 Scooby-Doo games.
I don't know if they're just winding us up. So
Well,
I want evidence.
Honestly, looking at these titles, because John's put it in there, Ross has put it in there. Sorry, John's put it in there, and Paul's put it in there. Scooby-Doo in the Spooky Swamp, Scooby-Doo First Fright, Scooby-Doo Mystery Mayhem, Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights, and Scooby-Doo Unmasked. So
I'm never going to finish this collection. I thought I'd done it, and Nick Berry mentioned a game, and it ended up costing us £100 bloody quid. And then I played it, and it wasn't even horror.
Well, it goes down to what you interpret, doesn't it? It's like, would you class like the Legacy of Kain games as horror? Because they're not really scary, but they're like gothic horror sort of thing. So it's like,
it's having the parameters and the what he's drawing the line at what is and what isn't.
I mean, are those Scooby-Doo games really that scary?
No, like I said, the only scary bit is the fact they can't get the opening titles right in any of them. So that does it for me. But it might be 6, Mark. Apparently, there's one called Scooby-Doo and the Poor Internet Connection. According to David, there we go. So.
I'm actually on eBay now trying to buy them. Go wind us up.
Oh dear. Al's also doing the 52 game challenge. He's trying to beat it in January. 52 video challenge. Yeah.
There's already videos.
Okay, so there's that. So, sure, what inspired you to take part this year then?
Basically, but I mean, we're all saying every year we say, I'm going to play more games. And the last couple of years, my gaming time has been absolutely soaked up with Warzone, COD Warzone. And as you may now know, since Warzone 2 has been released, it's kind of gone downhill. And I don't play it as much. I still do play it. I play both versions, Warzone 1 and 2, but nowhere near half as much as I used to. So, but you that asked me, Pete, wasn't it? You did ask me, didn't you? Yeah. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to be spending less time on Warzone. Why not? Why not make the effort and play more games? Even if I only do the 52, then I'll be more than happy with that. I must admit, when I first joined it, I thought, I don't know if I'm going to manage 52, but I've done 2 in first week, so far so good. It's early day. Well, yeah. I did. What did I do the other day? I did Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and then today I replayed a game that I played only a couple of months back. It's What Remains of Edith Finch.
Oh yeah.
I've actually recorded it and put it on my channel, the playthrough. So yeah, obviously I'm going to count that because I've done it. I completed it today. But yeah, basically, go on, mate.
I've got a bet on with that one. I'm going to say her nose. I might be get to the end of the game and just find a nose. Yeah. There we go. That's the end of the game. What Remains of Edith Finch? There's a nose. There we go. Fantastic. That's like a walking simulator, though, isn't it?
It is basically, yeah. But I mean, I like them kind of games. I like to be able to just take my time. Yeah,
Yorkshire trick of the game.
the Yorkshire trick of the game.
Are there 52 COD games? You could do one of them a week.
I am planning to go work my way through the COD games.
And they're like, didn't we work out they were like 42 or something, or 41?
48, wasn't it?
Yeah,
48?
Something like that. It was close anyway.
something like that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I could certainly blitz through a lot of them. I've been the ones I've got out actually. Oh wait, just a second, and you'll see they're all Xbox. Because obviously,
That's yeah.
these are the pile I'm going through at minute.
Call of Duty ones, yeah.
I've just installed Modern Warfare 4 because it's dawned on me I ain't got free on Xbox. Yeah, because I've got my Xbox One and it's backwards compatible, so I ain't gonna haul out all my consoles to play them, the PlayStations. So 42 is it?
Yeah, Ross confirms it's 42 COD games. Stuart also says what remains of Edith Finch is a great experience.
It is. They're like mini games in a way. You know, you're working your way through this house, this building. There's loads of secret rooms, and you've got these, on it for want of a better expression, mini games. But they're really good. They're really well thought out, very clever. Most of them are actually the death of the characters, but the way they do it, really clever. Sorry,
that
Matt.
Mark, sorry, yeah.
Well, are they made by a Chinese company or something like that? All them games that came out around the same time?
This one was by Giant Sparrow. Don't know who they are, but
Sounds like a Chinese restaurant. The Golden Sparrow. Sorry, yeah. Okay. So I mean, are you hoping to complete 52 games, Sean, or is it just,
Yeah.
I mean, I presume when you say 52, and again, it's sort of open question to everybody. Is it just playing 52, or is it setting yourself a target to complete 52, or how do you judge it each individually?
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned about rules earlier, because if there were some strict rules, I'd have no chance. You know, I am going to be playing arcade games, and I'm going to be using many of them continues. But even so, I know it's in a way it's kind of cheating, but you're still playing through the game, aren't you? You're experiencing the game all the way to the end. And there's a lot of arcade games I've never seen the ending of. And, you know, this year, hopefully, I'll finally be able to do that. So, I mean, yeah, Eddie keeps going on about one credit, one game credit. Yeah. Not a chance.
He goes on about that, but he's never actually done it himself. But yeah, as long as I think that's all it is to me, is just seeing the games through, like I said. But everyone has their own rules. Everyone makes it's like last year, Scott Glory Hunter, he did it like he actually went through it. I think he nearly completed 2 runs through, but he wanted to get a game from every letter of the alphabet, sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
So everyone kind of like just puts their own little kind of like twists on stuff, just to like make it interesting. It's like if you just wanted to just play 52 games to your, you know, till you're satisfied that you've seen enough of it, then that's fair enough. It's up to you, really. It's like I said, we're not very stringent compared to how it started. We're just in it for a laugh. It's like I've counted everything. A lot of people don't count stuff. Like I know Ross hasn't counted a lot of stuff. Eddie's not counted a lot of stuff. It's just all down to how you want to interpret it. There has been quite a few of us, because I think there's about 15 of us now in the chat, something like that.
Yeah, there's a few.
Can I just ask that question for there, Pete? You said, why aren't you counting certain games then? I know Ross mentioned it earlier on a comment saying that he's gone through 3 today and he's not counting those. Why would you include some and not others?
I guess it's just how easy they are. If you feel like they're too easy and you don't count them, but it doesn't bother me.
99 pence games just for the platinum. I think Ross has done that as well, you know, just for your gamer score. So it's like you've done them in 15 minutes just for the trophies.
Sounds like my sort of game.
It's like, not this year, but last year. Not last year, but the year before. I played Squidlet on the Switch, and that's only like a 20-minute start to finish game. I still counted it. It was still a really fun game. So,
yeah,
it's just up to whether you want to. I mean, it's up to whether you're wanting to do it to push yourself or whether you're wanting to just do it casually, like I am. It's just down to preference.
The best bit is, when a big title comes out like God of War Ragnarok or Forbidden West, and there's 4 or 5 of us in the group and we're all playing it at the same time. That's when I like it, when we're all talking about it and stuff.
Yeah, it was a really good time, that.
So do you set yourself any sort of boundaries or parameters, Mark, or are you just,
I just look at it, if the game's released and you can buy it, and you can beat it, then I count it pretty much. Like Super Mario Brothers, I counted that last year. It might only take you 20 minutes, half an hour to run through now, but it's still a game you can buy and play. So I just add anything really.
Another one as well is what Eddie tries to do is if there's a compilation out, he'll only count it if he completes every game on the compilation. Whereas ain't nobody got time for that. So
does he count every game on the compilation now?
No, he counts it once as a compilation. Whereas I would count every bloody game on there.
You count every game on there, won't you? Because I was thinking about this earlier, because when I went out yesterday, I hadn't updated my list of what I got in ages. So, and obviously got a lot of looking at A-list, I've got a lot of compilations and stuff. And I'm thinking, well, do I count a compilation as one title if I'm counting the number of games I've got? Is it like I've, say, for example, got Night Moves on the Commodore 64? That's 4 games in a compilation. So I count that as one title or 4.
I count it as one in a collection, but it's like I'm my Game of the Year list, because I do a Game of the Year list for my own amusement every year. I count compilations as one release on that, but if I'm counting it as completions, I'll count them each separate one. I think it was Ross that said it in the chat, like when we first started up the chat. He said basically if it got a retail release originally, then count it, which is what I kind of go for. But yeah, it's like Eddie had said something about the Castlevania collection the other week, how he'd completed a few games off that but didn't count them. And it's like, those games are hard.
Yeah.
Fucking count it, man.
You sort of want to shout about something like that. Oh, I find, I managed to complete that one, rather than I've played it and finished it, but I don't count it. So what's the point then?
One of them's in my 6 so far this year, actually.
Is it? Oh, right.
I don't think I've ever finished a pre-Symphony of the Night Castlevania. They're so hard.
Well, we'll come on to some of the titles that you may have been playing or looking to play. Let's just see what a few people have commented on these here. What remains of Edith Finch's The Great Experience, says Stu. Joe's also completed that on the PC, and she really enjoyed it as well. Going back to Scooby-Doo, Mark looked a bit miffed. Let me guess he spent about 150 quid on Scooby-Doo games.
I've just posted a screenshot on my eBay. It's just cost £60, I think, for them 2 games.
£60?
Freaking do games. I was scared that someone was going to buy them to wind us up.
Oh dear, mate. There we go. How to spend money and influence people on the tNb. So, David's had a watch through your Edith Finch playthrough, Sean. It's on your channel at the moment. Revived, so he's enjoyed that as well. Going back to COD, John says COD 3 is my favourite 360 game of all time from a full set owner. I used to sell the Grizzled Veteran achievement on eBay.
Full set owner?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Stu uses the 52 game challenge to encourage me to dip into indie games, and it was a great decision.
That's got me into a lot of stuff like that.
Well, I mean, how often have we spoken about indie games on tNb over the years? Rob on his Gamer Score challenge, Pete with your interest in the indie side, certainly through the Evercade, definitely as well. It's something we have spoken a great deal about, and again, it's something at the time I just didn't think about. I just thought games were just released, in the shops or retail, and that was it. But listen to what you guys have said over the past 3 years or so. Makes me wonder, how many sort of games I've missed. If you watch Gernaldinho plays video, he's done all the Gamer Score ones he's completed last year, and there's loads of indie titles on that. loads of them are games I've never even heard of before. So it's definitely something that opens it up. Ross said, yeah, it's some super quick games that are only being played for boosting gamer score or trophies. Martin said he's very tempted to do the challenge. He might struggle to commit to it, but hats off to those who do it. And Lee suggests he could complete 52 of his hit squads. I hope you haven't gone down that hit squad rabbit hole there, Martin. It's one to get out. Please don't mention hit squads yet. Dave's going to spasm. Nate here. Good evening, Nate. Hope you're well, mate. Nice to see you in the chat. Stuart's banging the Final Fantasy VII drum again. Nate, I think. Yeah. Nate's also part of the 52 game challenge, I believe. He's completely Pikmin the other game.
He's not actually. He's in front of me. He's done more completions than I have so far this year, but he's not committing to the group.
Oh, was he not? I thought he had done.
No, he started it last year and then left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought he was part of it this year. Sorry,
yeah, I left for a bit and then I came back, and then he wasn't there when I came back. So, but yeah, Nate, get back in. You're beating me. I ended up at 84 last year, so you're beating me so far.
84. Right.
947 Steam games might get me playing some of those, says Martin. Big Game Al says, I want someone to have Zelda Breath of the Wild on their complete this year as part of the 52 game challenge.
It was on mine on 2021.
Yeah, it's only 100 hours so that's less than some of the games I played last year. So it's not that big of a thing.
Has Al not joined it?
I'm not being in another group looking at pictures of horse game. I'm already in 2 or 3 groups with them. That's enough.
Buying and selling 52 full sets of games doesn't count.
52s.
Martin does mention he's indeed going for a full 64 C64 hit squad set. My goodness me.
Nice.
Deep pockets you must have, my friend, and good luck to you as well, because I know quite a few have tried. Paul's here, Retrobait.
Good evening, Paul.
Congratulating on the challenge. I don't know if I've ever completed 52 ever. I don't think I've ever completed 52 games ever. I've got to be honest. I think I said before, last time I completed a game was about 1995 or something like that. Breath of the Wild, Chris says, is less than an hour if you go start to Ganon.
It can be done, but it's ridiculously hard.
Yeah.
Not invited.
I said nobody invited to take part of the 52 game challenge. Well, he's already on. He's already got one done. He's beat one game so far, so he's off to a good start.
He's going to have no games left to do that, though, is he? 52 holiday challenge.
He's still got 2,500. He's still got 2,500 left. From what he was saying, so there we go.
Just take a minute to let that soak in. If you see that on his video when he said the number, 1,500. Just take a minute. And then he got you like he was expecting you like a snow clap from the movies.
Expecting somebody walk through the door with a trophy or something. There you go, you've heard of that. There you go.
On the shoulders.
Marching band. Marching band to go around the bed, is he?
I love Alvin.
I know. The world would be our corner of the YouTube would be a lot duller if it wasn't for the exploits of one big game. Al, we do love him. It takes a lot of stick, but we do love him. Yes, I mean, you guys. I mentioned at the start that I'm not involved in this. I mean, obviously, like Sean says, the idea this year is to play more games, but I can't commit to trying to complete 52 games a year. I mean, my problem is where do I start with something like that? I mean, I know it's affected by games that you'd be looking forward to that are, say, coming out this year. We know that, release dates and people look forward to certain games coming in. Like Mark, you mentioned the God of War Ragnarok game that came out, and then 4 or 5 of you started playing it at the same time. So starting with you, Mark, I mean, how do you decide which ones to play?
Well, obviously, like the likes of last year, Elden Ring was coming out, God of War, so I knew time was going to stop, when them came out. But I don't actually one series, the Yakuza series. It's the same for Stu as well. Generation Pixel. I'd
This
never
year's
played
been
it.
the year of Yakuza for
It
this
has,
chat. It's
hasn't it?
been great.
It's because of Pete
Yeah.
and Eddie in the group, just going on about how much they enjoyed it. I thought I'll finally give it a go, and then within 2 weeks, I'd played 4 or 5 of them, I think, in 200 hours. I put into them.
It's like 30 to 60-hour games.
Yeah, it was well over 200 hours I'd put into them in about 10 days, I think, 2 weeks, something like that. So that was good, but I don't.
There's only just over 200 hours in 10 days.
Is there? Well, it must be 2 weeks. I was doing about 12, 13 hours a day on them, I think. But I'm quite happy to sit there and just play. But I don't have any, like on a daily thing. Oh, I'm going to play this today or that. I just go to the shelf and I'll just pick something and I'll go, yeah, I'll play that. It's a bit. Or sometimes I'm like last year, I played a couple of Tomb Raider games again because I'd been watching a retrospective on YouTube and the guy had spent 2-3 hours per game, going through them. And I went, oh, I really want to play Tomb Raider again. So I went back to Tomb Raider. But I'm just a bit like the Joker. I just do. I go to the shelf and whatever's there.
So
I don't like structure.
There's no sort of real method to what you do. You just pick something up and go with it. Yeah. Okay.
I have a pile. I keep a pile next to my consoles downstairs. So I have my main,
I thought you said piles.
That's from sitting down too much playing games.
12 or 13-hour sessions. Yeah.
But yeah, I have a pile of games next to my TV because I keep my 3 modern systems and my Evercade VS downstairs. And I have like a pile next to my TV of games. Whenever I get a new game, it goes on the bottom of the pile and stuff. And I just tend to work through that. That's how I know what to play. When I'm in here, it's just a case of whatever takes my fancy. I started playing Alundra the other day because Kitson mentioned it in the chat. It's just you'll hear a game mentioned and you think, oh yeah, I'll play that. Yeah. Alundra might take me a while to go through in here because I don't spend much time in this room. But yeah, and then I also have like a list of handheld games I want to get through. And the Switch kind of bleeds in between my main games and my handheld games. So I'll stick to that as well. And it's mostly like Evercade games. I'll just like bang in a cartridge, play all the games I want to play on that, move on to the next cartridge and stuff like that. So that's how I decide what to play, really. This year, to push myself into more variety, I've made a list of all the sort of systems I've got access to games for. Not necessarily systems I've got, but like say I've got an Atari 7800, so I've got it. I can play 2600 games on it. I've got like a Retro Freak, so that'll see me through like Mega Drive, Master Systems, NES, Famicom, all that kind of thing. I've made a list of basically it's 40 systems that I've got access to the games for, and I want to try and finish a game on each one of those systems as well. So that's kind of like pushing me into sort of picking games for that as well. So it's sort of like I started talking about that actually, and then we got sidetracked. We got on a tangent because I was saying that Scott had done the thing with the A to Z list thing. I was going to do that, but I decided to go for all the different systems instead. So as well as trying to scratch 52 games off, I'm trying to broaden my systems as much as I can as well, which is, we'll see how that goes.
Come to Sean in a second and just find out how he's planning on doing it. So good evening to Gordon at Give84 Gaming. No time for direction stroke discipline. Tried that before, but just ummed and ahed for too long. So that's just picking up what it was. JLKG's in the chat. If you've come across LKG before, he's just started did some podcasts during lockdown. He started doing those again, interviewing some YouTubers, which are up on his channel as well. So doing Halo podcast as well, which just started. So wish you the best of luck with those, mate.
I'm on it in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You're everywhere, you are.
You're in a Halo chat?
No, not
Did I hear that right? I was going to say.
Podcast, not Halo. Not anywhere near Xbox.
Sony will stop paying you.
Yeah.
A couple of people mentioned Alundra. Nay said he wants to play that too. David said it's awesome. Nay says he loves JRPGs. Not Final Fantasy VII, though. They just take a long time to play. You see, again, that's something I'll come to in a second as well. Nath says, I finish Tetris once a day out of habit anyway. So 52 weeks of Tetris. possibly.
I can only once.
Susie says, Mark, when you played Yakuza, did you enjoy being a jailbait K-pop star as much as Pete did? This sounds like an interesting story. We're not going to gloss over this one.
Technically, it's J-pop. Don't be racist.
Who, me or Susie?
Susie.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah. I thought you were going to go back to my Chinese restaurant joke earlier. No, sorry. Go on, if you'd like to elaborate then, between the pair of you.
One of them, I think it's Yakuza 5, or it might be 4. You have like, because you play as different characters. There's like there's the two main characters of the whole series, which is Kazuma Kiryu and Majima Goro. But then you sort of play as other characters dotted around the game as well. And one of them you play as Kiryu's adopted daughter, who's suddenly like a Japanese idol singer, like they're like these pop singers that are like so worshipped in Japan. She just suddenly becomes one of them for no reason. And you play for like this whole chapter as her, like doing like pop shows and stuff. And instead of getting like beaten up by thugs in the street, you get into like dance battles with people and stuff, and it goes into like a rhythm action game. That series is mental. It's absolutely amazing. But yeah, it's one of the highlights of the series for me is that little section playing as a Japanese idol.
I've not played that one yet, so I've got the lights to come.
I think it might be 5. I'm not sure though, because they all kind of bleed into one for me after a bit.
Another quick question for Mark: are you getting withdrawal symptoms sitting here, not gaming, or is there a switch just off the camera?
I've got some Donkey Kong bongos on my feet. I support you. That's why I'm shaking.
Yeah. We can see the game reflected in your glasses, so that's what that nice is anyway. What about you, Sean? So, I mean, having heard what Pete and Mark said about their games, like, I mean, how I know you mentioned the COD earlier, but I mean, how would you go about picking some of the other games that will you use a special criteria, or will you just go with what's there?
Yeah, I've not really got a plan as such. I'm playing it safe to start with. Obviously, the Call of Duties, I've gone through most of them, at some point in the past. So, but my theory is that I'm just going to ease myself into it gently and then get a bit more adventurous. Though saying that, today I've downloaded Rayman Legends, and I've given that a little go because, and I'm really enjoying it. I must admit, it's quite good, which is surprising because I don't know. I've never really got into Rayman. I remember playing it on the PS1, the first one, and I enjoyed that at the time. But I never really followed the Rayman beyond that. But yeah, it was on the PlayStation Plus, and I thought, why not? We'll give it a go, and it's really good. But my fear is that I'm going to end up trying games and getting impatient with them or losing interest with them, which could set me back then. Because unfortunately, my attention span on a lot of games, it really ain't there. If it don't click straight away, then it's a lost cause. But fingers crossed, touch wood. So far, what I have played and what I've downloaded, another game I've downloaded, I haven't had a chance to play it. I think it's called What's Inside. Any of you heard of it?
No. I've heard of Inside, but not What's Inside.
What that would be?
So I've heard of a game called Inside, but I don't know about What's Inside.
It might just be Inside then.
It's like a 2D platformer. There's a game called Limbo. I think it's like a sort of successor to that.
Might well be that, mate. Yeah. Is it any good?
I've not played it. Limbo's fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've got that to delve into after hopefully completed Rayman. But yeah, not really a plan as such, Russ. I just hope I can keep it up because, like I say, I know my attention span might start waning a little bit. But saying that, if need be, I know I can go back to my safe bets, Call of Duties, Uncharted. I know I've completed them, before, but at least it'll keep me interested in this challenge. So
I don't think it matters if you get to the 52. It's all just part of being in the group and having a bit of crack about the games, isn't it?
Just having a try.
Yeah. None of us are competitive, like looking at each other. Oh, I'm ahead of him, I'm below him, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's all just fun. Like Marcus did it last year from Dan and Lads, and he said he got a bit stressed at points because he was falling behind what he needed to do, and it was like once he just chilled out and enjoyed his games, he said he enjoyed it a lot more, and that's what. Yeah. That's what it's about.
I mean, it's not a competition, is it? It's not a competition.
No. There's probably about 15 of us in the chat at the minute, and I'd wager a good half of us didn't make the 52 last year, and no one's bothered. The first year I did it, I only did like 36, something like that. Yeah. It's just like doing what you can, just having a laugh and just playing games. It's all about just playing games. I've kind of done more and more as the years have gone on. There's a direct correlation between how active I was on YouTube to how many games I finished. It was great. First year I did like 36. Second year I did 53. Last year I did 84. God. So, but
swing. Yeah.
If you're wanting sort of like small games, best thing to do really is get some kind of emulator system or just emulators on your computer, and look for modern games on classic systems, because there's some really, really good games that come out in the last few years on like the NES and the Mega Drive and stuff like that. Stuff like Doodle World, Foxyland. There's a really good game on the Game Boy called Dedius, which can be done in like 10 minutes if you want to. But they're really short experiences, but they're really good experiences too. And it's like, there's just a lot out there for stuff like that. That's all come to me through Ethercade, which I'm so like grateful for that system for. But definitely just look at stuff like that, and they're not too difficult. They're not very long, but they are very rewarding experiences, and they're really good, like really good games too.
Yeah. Okay. Couple of comments from the chat. Boothie says, "Are there any Aston Villa fans in the chat?" I should hope not. Recommended games to play this year: Scooby-Doo games, Mark. I think you should go through some of those when they turn up. Question for Sean: are you going to complete Poogie Race?
Poogie Race, yeah.
Which is that's the pig racing one, isn't it? If I remember,
big one, yeah.
Big, from going back ages. Al's gone to work, so we can all start talking about him again. What's inside? Is that the proctology game? Says Nath. It's not really where you want to go on that one, is it? Dedius is great, says Paul.
Yeah, it's really good. It's so dark, but it's really good.
So, I mean, when you start a game, I have, I'm more aiming at Mark and Pete, but also from what Sean said there. I mean, Sean said about sticking with the game. I mean, have you started games to this particular challenge and had to stop them because you couldn't get, to a certain point, and then you got to something you couldn't get past it, or you just felt it was taking up too much time? Have you ever dropped games you started playing because of that? Not
because of time. I've only dropped a couple. I dropped Sonic Frontiers a couple of days ago, just because I thought it was absolutely awful. It was. I'd tried as well. I put about 10 hours into it, so I had tried.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get on with it. It's just Sonic needs to be 2D and not for just leave him alone 2D.
Absolutely.
But because Sonic was my favorite game as a kid, growing up. I got the Mega Drive in '92 for Christmas, and Sonic 2 was the big game, so I love them. So I buy all the games hoping I'm going to get that back. But then they just keep releasing these 3D games, and I'm just like Warlass every Saturday night, disappointed. It just keeps happening with the games.
What about yourself, mate?
I'm going to say, like I said earlier, I've dropped Cyberpunk, and I was sort of hated doing that because I'd already sunk 12 hours into it. But dropping a game because it's taken too long is detrimental, really, because you've put that time in to it. You might as well carry on, but I just couldn't with Cyberpunk because it was just that bad. But yeah, where I see it is there's no point playing the game if you're not enjoying it. So if you don't like a game and you know you don't like a game, you've got to stop. Move on to something you do like.
Yeah.
There's no point.
I don't look at how long something's going to take us. I still play what I want to play within the 52 game challenge. And if it takes us a while, it takes us a while. If it's short, it's short. That never comes into my mind how long it's going to take.
Because I'm one of these people who will put on like Championship Manager, and that'll be it for the rest of the year. I don't know how long that'll game will take to do, and I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm going to play nothing else.
You could do 52 seasons.
I could. Well, I wouldn't even do that. I'd just keep playing the one team over and over again, and do about 10 years worth on the game. But that's my problem with something like that. If I played it, I'll get stuck into it, and I don't know. That again, it's fine. I suppose it's finding the right sort of games, and not so much easy completions, but I want to pick a game that I know won't take up so much of my time to do it. If I want to do something like 52 game challenge, I'd want to play at least 52 games or give 52 games a go. But my problem is I'll probably get bogged down with one and realise, I've been playing it for 2 or 3 weeks. I've still got not very far with it, and before you know it, you lose interest. So what drives you on then? What motivates you to keep going if you do find you get to a certain point that you think, am I going to get through 52 games? Or, do you sort of find a point where you want to sort of stop and have a breather and leave it and then come back to it? Do you dare do something like that? Mark, first of all.
I had it done by June, so I was all right. I wasn't really that stressed, to be honest.
But I mean, do you ever worry you're going to get to a point where you think I'll put too much into this? I need to, possibly.
Elden Ring, the first playthrough was 120 hours, and I just kept playing it and playing. I'd beat the game 4 or 5 times in a row, and I could have went on to beat. I could have beat loads of games in that time, but it didn't bother us because I was playing a game that I really enjoyed, and that's the main thing. Playing what you want to play. Time didn't bother me.
Yeah. Okay. Pete?
Sorry, what was the question again?
I can't remember. I think it was. Do you find you get to a certain point where you put too much? Say we put too much time into one game, and you need to think about moving on to another one. So would you be persevere with it, or?
No. It's I mean, I've always got the Advocate on the back burner. I sit and play it in bed and stuff when I can't sleep, and I know that I can always churn out a few of those games in a couple of hours. So I've always got that kind of cushion. But I just play games that I want to play. I don't think about how long they are. It's like last year I played through Oblivion. I played through all 3 of the Mass Effect games. I didn't shy away from 1 games, and the year before I did Breath of the Wild early on as well. So I don't know. I don't even think about it. It's like the challenge is fun, but it's about the games really, not trying to make the challenge. So it don't bother me that kind of way. I do sometimes. I do have a little break from a game and then go back to it, but not often. I'll try and sort of churn away at a game until it's done.
That was something else I was trying to angle at in the first place. You start one game and then do you not move on to another one until you finish that one, or do you put some time into it?
That's how I do it. Yeah. Once I started, I don't play another game until that's done, unless it's on the Switch. Like sometimes I might play a Switch game whilst I'm next door spending quality time with a wife. So I'll play a Switch game during playing like the proper game.
Yeah,
he was legitimately playing Switch in his wedding photos.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, there's all that boring stuff that the vicar goes on about at the start, isn't it? I ain't got time for this. Just tell me when when I go say yes. Just tell me yes, and I'll go on with this. Hang on.
I tend to have 3 games on the go at once. A game for downstairs, a game for up here, and then a handheld game. Like at the minute, I've got Alundra going up here. I've got Fist of the North Star going downstairs. I finished Alwa's Legacy last night, so I've not really got a handheld game going, but I think I'll probably start Cathedral tonight on the Evercade. So that's how I tend to do it. And then I've also always got Animal Crossing running as well. I've now played that every day since March for at least like half an hour. So,
okay. But there are some you can play going on, running alongside the other ones that you'll sit down and do at once. Yeah.
You know, Animal
Animal
Crossing
Crossing
is in the top 10 selling games this Christmas still.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
Number 5 was Mario Kart 8 on the Switch, the best-selling game this Christmas. It's mental.
Yeah.
Most of the
Yes,
list is
that's-
Nintendo games, like old ones.
Mario Kart 8 though is fantastic. I still haven't got the Switch version. I keep thinking about it, but
It is a good game, that one. And I
we
hate
used to play
Mario
it
Kart.
it's one of the only games that I've ever played a lot of online. Is Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, Animal Crossing is one of those games which doesn't end, so it's like you can just play it. I mean, I'm kind of going through the motions now. I'll just go and I'll make sure my island's tidy. I'll give presents out to all the villages and stuff, and then I'll just switch it off and do the same thing next day. But I'm sort of working towards counting that as complete. It's like I've had a 5-star island now. I've got a S rank house. I've collected all the bugs and fish. I've got all the dinosaur bones. I've got one more undersea animal to catch. And I'm essentially just counting it. Once I've got that last thing under the sea to catch, and I've got I need to get all the museum art pieces, which is just a look of the draw thing, which is probably not going to ever happen. Once I've done that, I will count that game as complete. But I've been playing it, like I said, every day since last March.
It's almost a weird but I've been playing that game every day since last March.
It's just part of my routine now.
I get to this point, I'm going to say, that's it, I've done it, no more, I've had enough.
Yeah, it's just part of routine now. It's like my bedtime routine. It's like I'll switch everything off. I'll go upstairs. I'll get in bed. I'll play Animal Crossing for half an hour. It's just
in the old days, people used to read a book.
Yeah, what's that then?
That's it now. And then they sit there and playing games. It's I think you are taking the mick a little bit when you get your sniper rifle out and start sitting there in bed, like lying back and sort of.
The full Steel Battalion, the full Steel Battalion was in bed.
Sort of flailing around with a Wii controller, trying to play tennis and thing. Anyway,
because I've just obviously gone for new jobs, I've had to do a CV and stuff like that, and I'd never done one for over 20 years. So the wife, she's a PA, so she knows all about how to do CVs. So I've wrote mine out and showed her. I went, "Is this all right?" She went, "New jobs probably don't care that you're a marksman with a rifle." I was like, further skills, marksman with a rifle.
That could be quite essential. Does that mean you'll be adding Microsoft Word to your list of completed games this year, putting together a CV?
She just wrote it out for us in the end.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Right, a couple more questions I'm going to ask you, and then we'll get some comments in first before we do that. Nice. Sometimes picked up games again, 52 game challenge, so I do finish them rather than leave it unfinished. LKG says Sonic, brilliant. Number 3 is my favourite. Brilliant game. Paul's mentioned Tony Hawk, so I'll withdraw my sympathy for your shoulder.
Yes, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but I finished Tony Hawk's 1 for the challenge, and I've never sworn at a game so much in my life. Some of those challenges on there are like horrific.
Kirby is a great fun, easy play, just simple fun, easy to pick up and down. John's gone. Thanks for hopping in, mate. If you've watched this one back, good to see you. Stuart's I'm playing Skyrim. Yakuza like a Dragon and Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core in unison at the moment. Wow.
I couldn't do that.
Nice, nice bit of variety there. There's a role-playing game, a role-playing game, and a
role-playing game. Yeah, but even so, trying to play 3 at the one time. I don't know. Quick question for Pete: does Animal Crossing technically complete when the dog comes to play guitar?
Susie says this actually, because when the first time you get the gig in your town, the credits roll, and she reckoned I should have counted it last year, but I couldn't bring. I know Eddie wouldn't ever show up about it if I did. So I'm more interested as a guitar playing dog. To be honest with you, that sounds. Oh yeah, KK Slider, there it is.
Like my sort of thing. Oh right, okay, there's one up there. Is that? Ah, right. Okay.
My absolute idol. Oh shit! Nearly fell over.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. She's a dog. It's got a guitar. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so having had all that conversation going on there, a couple of questions I want to ask. I feel sorry for Sean because he's going to sit here. He's not going to be part of this because obviously
No, it's fine.
these
Fine, I
guys have
don't
done
mind.
this and you're doing it for the first time this year. In previous years of doing this challenge, have you come across any games that have really surprised you that you say you've had sitting there for a while and have become firm favourites? And are there any that you've been sitting there wanting to play or was part of this and absolutely hated? I know you mentioned Sonic Frontiers earlier, Mark, but anything else that sort of stands out from previous years that you've done? I'll start with Mark.
Sorry, I'm just having a quick look at the lists. Sorry, can you just...
Pen's made a return, by the way. Everybody should tNb Pen from a few episodes ago.
I'm just Yakuza. We can go back to Yakuza. Obviously, I'd had them sitting on the shelves for years, and I just thought, oh, it's just weird Japanese Grand Theft Auto. And I think a lot of people who think that until they've actually played it, and they just realise how good of a story that they've got. They're probably the story, the Yakuza story. If you forget about all the side stuff, the karaoke stuff, and the playing baseball and stuff like that, the actual story is one of the best in game, and especially Yakuza 0, I found. You know, the deep, dark Yakuza story, like it's gritty and it could be a film. It generally could. It's that good.
It is a film, actually. It's one I've been trying to get
hold
of. Yeah, there's a Japanese film. I've only found it for streaming on one like thing on like Kodi or something, and it was in Japanese and didn't have subtitles. So it was like I did still watch a bit though. That's the thing. I did still watch a bit, and I still followed it. So it was like so like faithful to the games. There was just one bit I was sat watching, and it's got Majima walking through. He's just walking through the town with like loads of Yakuza around him with like a baseball bat, you know, because he always has a baseball bat in the game, and he's just shouting Kiryu-chan all the way through it. And then he meets him in like the baseball bat like arena thing where you can even go in the game, and they have like a big fight in there, and it's just awesome. It's so faithful to the game. It feels so much like it, but yeah, you can get it on DVD, but it's not very cheap, and I don't like buying DVDs now. But yeah, I've only been able to find it in Japanese for streaming, but I do intend to watch it.
Rhyme was one that I'd had sitting there for a while. I played last year and really loved it.
It's Rhyme.
Yeah.
As in nursery
rhyme, not as in with the Y.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
It was just by a little indie developer. I think they're from Spain, and one of my favorite series of all time, or like games, is Ico on the PlayStation 2. I just absolutely love that. And going to Dark Souls, actually, funny enough, he was inspired by the gameplay of Ico and like, you know, getting lost in this world and stuff like that. But I just had to quickly mention Dark Souls. But Rhyme, it plays very much like Ico. You just put on an island, and it's a proper adventure. I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla earlier in the year. It is a really good game, but you've got your compass with 1,000 arrows where to go and what to do and do this. You know, your whole screen's just taken up. But in Rhyme, you were just there. You were dropped on an island. It was like, figure it out. It was like an old school adventure. You know, like when people probably... I never played it back in the day, but the original Zelda, you're in this world, and it's your playground. It's your adventure. You're not guided with compasses and all the maps that you get in a lot of the modern games. I just found it like absolutely brilliant. You know, it was, like I say, it just been sat on the shelves for years, and I just looked at the front cover. It wasn't very like appealing, so it just sat there, and I was really pleased that I played that one, because I do think with the modern games, the adventure aspect is gone through all the maps and the arrows pointing you where to go, and if you get close to something, you get a big alert. Oh, go over here because we've made content that we want you to see. It's kind of lost that adventure. I think that's why I like the From Software games so much. You're just put there, and it's your game, it's your adventure. You go that way, you go this way, whatever you want to do. I think there's not many games that do that anymore. I think the old adventure games were a lot more like that.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. Before I come to Pete, it's got the questions for Sean actually, which is coming. Judge Drock says, "Did you win that players game?"
Oh,
well, hello.
I did indeed, mate.
Let's have a look.
Yes. Prohibition.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
It's yeah. Mark told me about it. He linked it to me and says you might want to get hold of this because it's an hard to find one. It don't come up very often. So cheers for that, Mark, for linking it. Yes, I did. I got it.
Also,
with ease, actually.
Oh, right. Okay. Is that slightly disappointing then? Or you want a bit more of a challenge on that one by the sound of it, I suppose. Couple of recommendations for you. Gordon recommends Spec Ops: The Line, fantastic military shooter.
Absolutely. It's a brilliant game. It really is.
On what console?
360 or PS3?
360.
PS3's better version.
Yeah. It's obviously it's on PlayStation. Yeah, it's a third person, so it's more like Gears of War and stuff. But it's it starts off as like a military shooter, like standard, but you kind of get stranded in this like sort of war torn kind of version of like Dubai. I think it's like after a nuclear bomb's gone off and stuff, and as the story goes on, your character gets sort of more and more sort of shell shocked, and it's the main character's voiced by Nolan North, who's the guy who did Drake in the Uncharted games. He's like a prolific voice actor.
Yeah.
And it really shows off his range in this game as well, that he's not just a quippy guy who does like the Uncharted games. He's like, as you play the game, his voice gets more and more sort of frantic and strained and stuff. And like, not just like in cutscenes when he's talking, but like you're in a squad, and when you're like at the start of the game, you're like calling out like "move up" and all that kind of thing, just saying it calmly and stuff. By the end of the game, he's like shouting and stuff and sounding like really frustrated and like really stressed out. It's just there's so much attention to detail and stuff like that. It's absolutely fantastic game. I only played it by chance because it was on PlayStation Plus years ago, but yeah, if you can get hold of that game, fully recommend it. It's fantastic.
Paul Inknoven and myself actually discussed, could that actually be classed as a horror game, because like the horrors of war and stuff like that, because it really messes with the mind, doesn't it?
It's psychological. It's
if you've if you've watched like Apocalypse Now and stuff like that, you very much get vibes of that. It's like awesome. Really good. And Kula Shaker, when the song Hush, when that's playing at the start and that's like proper pounding and you take out all the guards, it's like, it's a brilliant game.
There you go, Sean. There's a recommendation for you there.
Yeah.
Lee says loved Ico. Wasn't it on the PlayStation 1 originally?
PS2.
I don't think so.
I think it was PS2.
PS2, yeah, definitely.
They did that, and then Shadow of the Colossus, and then Guardians. Yeah.
Going back to games that we found during the challenge, Singularity was a hit for me, and it sat on my shelf for a few years before I played it. Paul mentions Vanquish was probably his best shelf filler played last year. It's also backwards compatible.
Really good game as well. Vanquish is like it's a third-person shooter. It's made by the guys who made Bayonetta and stuff like that, who normally do beat-em-up games. It's so fast-paced. You can do it in 3 hours, and it's like sort of like Metal Gear Solid on steroids. It's just really high octane.
It's got an arcadey feel, hasn't it? Because the levels are quite short and you get points and stuff.
Yeah. And one of the buttons on it, instead of like a dash, you kind of like go down on your knees and you've got like a jetpack on your back and you just slide on the floor and stuff. And you can like, you're just sliding around at super high speeds, like picking enemies up while you're doing it. Really good. Really fun game.
Chris says Mark would like The Witness if he likes, Ryan.
I've never heard of it, to be honest.
There you go.
I'm sure Chris.
Stabs a bit more on that one. Spec Ops is backwards compatible, is what he meant. So you can run fine on the Xbox. And going back to what you said there, Mark, it is based on the same source material as Apocalypse Now. So there we go.
Look out for that.
Yep.
Is that the Heart of Darkness or something? Was that what the book was called? The Heart of Darkness?
It was something like that, wasn't it? Yes. Oh, that's a good one. I can't remember now. Yes, it was. It was something like that. Definitely. Cracking film. If never seen it, really is. It's definitely something people need to watch. What about yourself, Pete? Is there anything that you found surprised you or became a firm favourite, or a game you didn't particularly get on with when you were doing these previously?
So many games became like fan favourites. Like I mean, it's like the Evercade. I keep banging on about the Evercade, but that's like putting games in my hands that I would never play. I've said that before. Just getting a cartridge, like I mentioned Dedius earlier, wouldn't have even crossed my mind if I'd not got it on this Evercade cartridge and stuff like that. So just things like that. I'm looking through my list, and there was a game called Bobble that I completely even forgot that I played on Evercade. But it's just this little like sort of almost Metroidvania kind of thing where you play as a bubble, and it's like physics based, and you can't touch land, and you've got to like sort of duck underwater and then go back to the top to jump over gaps and things, like use the physics to propel yourself. I wouldn't have even played that, it was only, again, that's only like a sort of 20-minute, half an hour game. That's a new NES game, and it's just, I absolutely loved it and played through it a few times. Things like I went back to a game called Generations Lost on the Mega Drive. I remember when I first started watching Big Game Al's videos, and he was showing off his collection, and saying he'd got his full Mega Drive collection. I said to him, "You should play Generations Lost," not knowing full well that he would never intend to, but. It was. I was like, yeah, you should definitely play this game. It's fantastic. And I thought back in the day maybe he would, but no. But yeah, I dusted it off this year and played through it, and I'd never finished it as a kid. And I didn't realize how close I was to actually finishing it as a kid, because I got through it this time, and I must have been sort of on the last level back then. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was. It's sort of like. I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but I don't think anyone's going to play it. You start off and you're in like a jungle, but you've got like high-tech armor on and stuff, and there's like high-tech like bits of technology in the jungle and stuff. So it looks like it's sort of like a few well into the future, like Earth's been reclaimed by the jungle kind of thing. But you actually end up, by the end of the game, you find out you're actually on a terraforming spaceship on the way to another planet. And you've been sort of let out your stasis pod earlier, and your memory's wiped of the original Earth and stuff like that. And the terraformer's gone off inside the ship, and that's why there's jungles everywhere and stuff. Really interesting premise for a game. But it was also built on the foundations of a cancelled Spider-Man game that they were going to make. So you've got like a sort of laser whip that you can use to swing about and stuff and everything. It's like you can clearly see that the Spider-Man's there in the background, sort of thing. So it's a really interesting game to play.
Oh, weird.
Because I kind of got, when I played it, it felt a bit like a flashback game, to me, like, or the other one that they did, Another World. Yeah, it felt a bit like that with the platforming. Gorgeous game, though. It's one of the best on the Mega Drive, isn't it?
It's just a game that I had by chance when I was a kid because I'd seen it at a car boot sale or something, and it just always kind of stuck with me in my mind. But yeah, went back to that one and absolutely loved it. But yeah, just about every game I play is something that I've seen on a whim, or something that's come on the Evercade, and I thought, oh, that looks fun, I'll give that a go, or something that I've seen on the Switch sale for like 99p and picked it up and had a crack at that. I played Cthulhu Saves Christmas over Christmas. Absolutely,
it's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really good game. I just kind of see these games and just think, well, that's £1, I'll play that. And quite often I end up loving them. Quite often I end up not liking them. I mean, I picked up one called Grip on the Switch. It's a racing game. It's similar to Roll Cage back on the PS1, where you like, those radio controlled cars with the big wheels which can flip upside down. It's like that kind of thing. You're racing those, but that just didn't grip me, ironically. So sometimes there's a miss, but yeah, sometimes I'll just buy something like that and it'll be an absolute hit. Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. Absolutely loved it. And again, that was just something I saw on Game Pass. Game Pass is an absolute treasure trove for this kind of thing. Yeah. You can just scroll through, you can see something and play it, and if you don't like it, it's no big deal because it's free. But if you like it, you've got a new favourite. So
can't knock free, can you? Really? I keep saying that.
Well, it's not free, is it? But it is.
But it may as well be for that price, isn't it? Really? It may as well be. Okay. We got confirmation that Heart of Darkness was a book about Apocalypse Now. Just response to that game, Mark. The Witness is a mix of Myst and a modern indie game. You're on an island, have to solve puzzles, using any clues in the environment to get further and uncover the story.
I will look out for it.
There we go. Another recommendation. Ross says Mini Motor X is by far the definition of a shelf filler, but is an awesome Micro Machines experience. There's a game that comes back every now and again. Going on to Evercade, Tetley says, hard ever pick up my Evercade, but Xeno Crisis is great for a blast.
Yeah, it's rock hard though.
Paul says Grip was PS3 originally, he thinks. No, PS4, not PS3. And Turnip Boy is awesome.
It really is.
Is that someone's nickname? Could well be. Could well be. So just to finish off, I mean, do you want to mention the games that you completed so far this year? Is that allowed? As part of the rules? Yeah. If you want to just sort of give us what you've actually managed to get through, we'll start with Mark, who's got his list there.
So I beat Gotham Knights. It's a poor man's Arkham game. Pete actually gave us a heads up. He says, just don't think of the Arkham series when you play it, and it's not bad. And
thing is, I said that, but that's all I could think about at first.
Yeah, it was with me. I was like,
yeah,
because it's the combat that really let it down for me. Because when you're playing the Arkham games, you get the combos and the free flow, and you're using all the gadgets. With this, it just felt like a normal beat 'em up. You're just punching people and dodging them, then punching them. There was no flow to the combat like there was in the Arkham series. But it was decent. It was, it wasn't as bad as what people made it out. I think people just thought it was going to be an Arkham game, and it's not. It's not.
Once I got over the hang-ups of it, I did quite enjoy it. But
yeah, it was all right.
Like a sort of 5 out of 10 kind of way. It wasn't groundbreaking, but didn't offend me. The story was quite good as well. Quite like the ending.
Apart from Harley Quinn.
Apart from Harley Quinn, yeah.
Yeah, she was a terrible Harley Quinn.
Is there no counter mechanic in Gotham Knights, says Gordon, just while you're on that one?
No.
What? No and yes. If they're doing like a combo against you, it'll flash up a little bit on the hand and you can dodge and then get an attack in. But it's not like as good as what they had in the Arkham series. It feels like a step backwards and it doesn't actually look even as good as Arkham Knight on the PS4 graphically.
It doesn't look as good as Arkham Origins on the PS3.
Yeah, you'd say it was a good looking PS3 game, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. Yeah. It's not so much a counter system of their combat; it's more like a sort of perfect evade kind of thing. You've got to time your dodges. I never did. I just kind of hammered away at them until they died.
Yeah,
I played it like an old school God of War game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I did that one, The Devil in Me, which is part of the Dark Pictures anthology. So you've got, they've done 4 or 5 games now. Well, 2 of them I think were spin-offs, but they've done is there 4 games in the main series at the moment?
There's 4 Dark Pictures, but then there's like Until Dawn and The Quarry. And there's an Until Dawn VR game as well, and I think there's something else as well, but I'm not sure.
Oh. Well, I played that one. Now, and like with a story-based game, it's obviously got to have a good story, hasn't it? Or it's shit, because they're pretty much interactive movies or point and click. Modern point and clicks without the puzzles is how I try to describe the one. It's got a really good one. So you start off as 5 people. You're a camera crew and you're filming like scary locations and stuff. And you go to a hotel and it's got like, there's actually documentaries I'd seen on this guy like years ago. There was a doctor in America, and he was the American first ever serial killer. People say Ed Gein, but I think he came out before Ed Gein. And he had this hotel where he built loads of traps within the hotel and the secret rooms, and he was killing the people that went there. And they think he could have killed up, well over 100 people, this guy. So it takes premises from that with the hotel and all the secret rooms. But there's a bit of Psycho in there as well with the mother. So it was like a really good story, and it just kept us wanting to play. I think I did it in 2 sittings, that one. So I really enjoyed that one. Little Nightmares 2. So I played the first one last year, and when I bought the first one, it came out on a pack with all the DLC on it, on the disc. So I've been waiting to get Little Nightmares 2 for them to release all the DLC on one disc, and they've just never done it. So I finally took the plunge and bought the second one. It's a really great stealth puzzle platformer with a great horror, setting to it. The Chant, which is a modern survival horror. It was only done by a little indie developer. So if you think Resident Evil and Silent Hill, all the old PlayStation 2 feeling ones, but it's got a good premise. It's a bit like The Wicker Man. So you're a girl on an island, and it's all about cults and stuff, and you're trying to escape the cult, and it's all like what's the word I'm looking for? You know, when you're on drugs and you're all spaced out. Psychedelics, yeah. So it's got all that hippie love and stuff, and the monsters coming at you are like demonic flowers and stuff, you know, from that. It's like a really, really good game. A bit different, you know, the normal zombies and werewolves and what have you.
Yeah.
Super Castlevania, I played that on the Castlevania collection. Still holds up today. Still like one of the greatest like action platformers of all time. Always will be. And the last one I did, because going back to one of the questions you said earlier about what you pick next, I did The Devil in Me, and I went back to Little Hope, which had came out a good year before that one because I'd enjoyed The Devil in Me so much, and it's another Dark House picture. I beat that one last night, and again, it's like an awesome story. That it's all about the Salem witches and stuff. I really, really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. Okay. Good list there. So, I mean, apart from Super Castlevania 4, I've heard none of those. So it's like, but it's joy doing this, hearing about stuff that you've never heard of before. If anybody has played those, or there's some recommendations there, certainly get on those this year to play. Very quickly, to do some comments before I come to Pete. Tetley says that I completed a single game last year, but playing mainly Spectrum and Texas Instrument 99 games. Most are way too tough to get to the end. They certainly are. Stu said 180 and Batman the movie were two specky games I completed last year. 180 doesn't count. That's a game of darts, mate. You know, it's darts. Doesn't count.
You could never do the 52 game challenge playing on 8-bit consoles. It takes 2 days for the bloody game to load up before you can even play.
Most of the time, all the games don't end as well. I was sat playing Marauder on C64. I played through it all about 3 times before I realised I was just doing the same levels.
There's quite a few people who've been playing him. I mean, Pixel Plug said he completed The Great Escape on the Spectrum at Christmas, probably because it was Christmas and The Great Escape was on. Yeah, it was. It was. I didn't even see it. It was on the channel 4 or channel 5. I can't remember. I was watching it. Yeah, Tetley says need to rebuy Batman. Ross has had to leave us. He's streaming on Twitch, I believe. So when we finished here shortly, you can go across and have a look at that one. Where Time Stood Still, that was another isometric 8-bit game. It is an expensive one, as Lee says there. Yes, Stu says Little Hope is the weakest of the series, Mark.
I agree, actually.
I think I can't remember Man of Medan. I think that was the weakest one that I've played.
I've not played the latest one, but the one before it, House of Ashes, was absolutely fantastic. I really love that game.
Gordon disagrees.
When we finish.
Oh yeah. Straight on with it. Yeah.
I'm itching to get it
on cold turkey for 2 hours. I'll have to throw there. Well, we'll finish in a second, mate. You'll be all right. I know. What about you, Pete? What have you managed to finish here?
I mentioned them earlier. The only ones I finished so far this year are Alwa's Awakening and Alwa's Legacy. But yeah, both of them. If you like Metroidvanias, both of them are just really not as punishing as like Castlevania and what was Record of Lotus War and stuff like that. They're a lot easier to get through. Very rewarding when you do. I mean, it's like it counts up your deaths, and I think on the first one I had like 314 death count by the time I finished it. But you know, every time you do it, you do sort of a little bit better. You'll find like a pattern to a boss fight, and your next go you'll do a little bit better. It's like I stopped playing the night before last, and I was on a boss rush bit of like 4 bosses, and I couldn't even beat the first one. But then last night I played it for like half an hour, saw a pattern to him, and managed to do it. And yeah, it's a very rewarding experience. If you like Metroidvanias, I'd give them a go. They're on modern systems, but also the first one was backwards ported to the NES and then ported to the Evercade. So if you've got a way of playing them, I do fully recommend Alwa's Awakening and Alwa's Legacy, and you can get them physically on the Switch as Alwa's Collection. Really good games.
Yeah.
That's all I've done so far.
Okay. Scott's here, Sega Zombie. Good evening, mate. Happy New Year to you. Hope you're
Scott.
well.
Scott.
And also Sir Bob. Sir Bob Russ is here as well to
Hello,
pop in
Bob.
and say hello. Good to see you. I know you cropped up on Al's Christmas Eve stream. It was good to see you there. So nice to pop in. Is it just the one you've managed so far then, Sean, this year, is it?
To that Edith Finch game,
Yeah.
and called Modern Warfare 2. Despite what people think about me being a hardcore COD player, I did play it on Recruit.
Again, no shame. No shame. Just do what you can.
Yeah.
I just very, very quickly, we just talked about 8-bit there, Sean. Are you going to put any 8-bit games into your 52 this year, do you think? Or
Yeah. I'll have a look on the old Porky box and see what there is up there. But it is like was it Lee that mentioned it, that that they are rock hard, some of the games. I won't mind playing a few old school platformers. I've never completed Manic Miner. Maybe this year is the year that I finally do.
That's a nice easy one you've picked there to start with. You know how tough a game is when they actually set up a challenge. When we went to that crash event in November, they got, I think it was a Manic Miner challenge to see if people could actually
did they?
I think it was to finish it, get off a certain screen or something. I can't remember. So I mean, it's like, you know how difficult the game is there.
We should all play Dizzy, and every single one of us play Dizzy and review it. Just so David's feed is just Dizzy.
Yeah. That would have to be an insistent one, wouldn't it? Really. So, Edith Finch, another fan there. Gordon says as well. So that's definitely worth having a look at. Complete Airwolf. Sean, there's a challenge for you. Yeah, I wouldn't fancy doing that one. That's a nasty one, isn't it?
No, that ain't happening.
Scott finished Mummy Demastered on the Switch this year. It may be the only game I finish in 2023.
It's a good one though.
I've not heard of that one.
It's a like a 2D run and gun out with a bit of Metroidvania chucked in there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's based off the film that came out with Tom Cruise not too long ago, but it's nothing like the film at all. They've just used the name pretty much. It's really, really good Metroidvania.
Okay.
Quite short as well.
Gordon tried Batman on the NES, failed, got to the fourth boss, and I just can't. Yeah, that's the problem with the games from there. Retro Chef's been lurking. Good evening, mate. Hope you're all right.
Evening, Lee.
There we go. Right, coming in right at the very end. And Rob's in as well, Champion 2D Rob's here. Definitely looking to play more this year, and I think that's pretty much what we've been saying all the way through. Same with people in the comments as well. I myself, I'm not taking part in this. I've got to find my own way of doing it. But I hope people who've been watching and listening, neither now or later on, have sort of taken some inspiration from this and, take up their own challenge and do it in their own sort of way. I mean, as you said, you don't have to do these games to completion. You don't have to do 52 games. It's how you want to do it, and it's not it's not a competition, as we said. Some people will do more, some people do less, some people do what they're happy with. I think that's the best way to do it. But I wish you all the very best, all three of you, what you achieved this year, and I'm sure we'll hear about it towards the end of 2023 as to what you've managed to do. So I wish you all the best with that. Lee mentioned he wants to finish God of War. There we go. Now everyone turned up better as an extra out of the stream. No, I've got to go and watch the 49ers. I'm sorry, but there we go. There we go. But yeah, so but that's it. So that's been it. And I'd like to say a massive thank you to everybody who's been on the panel tonight. Mark, thanks for coming on at reasonably short notice again.
My
interrupting your. Glad you got your Whitney film in before you managed to make it here. Anyway, that's the main thing.
Like I said as well, spoilers, Butcher dies in the end.
Oh, damn it.
I could just picture, there's just so many men in there who've just been dragged there by their wives and girlfriends, and then Mark just sat in the middle on his own.
The wife wouldn't come. She says, I'm not going to watch that shit.
I'm with your wife on that one.
Just tears streaming down your face.
Oh, dear.
One of the credits roll, you stand up and clap.
Well, if they never do a Tina Turner one like that, then perhaps we can all go to that one going back to earlier. But there we go. Anyway, Pete and Sean, thanks very much as always dropping up and giving me
Cheers,
time.
mate.
It's a pleasure
No
to have you. I
worries.
know some of that Sean again was a case of just sitting there and listening, but you know,
Yeah, it is what it is.
we know you love doing these, mate. We love having you on. It wouldn't be the
Exactly.
same without you. So, and again, thanks very much to Mark for giving up his
My
time on
pleasure.
that one and being a returning guest. And we'd love to have you back on again in the future, mate. Whenever we can fit you on, that'll be great.
I
Right,
lost all your female viewers within 5 seconds of talking about my Spice Girls. That's what I want to smash.
Oh well, they'll be back for the next one. Don't worry about that. They'll come back.
I tell
I'm
the wife
gonna
I'm not sexist. I'm a traditionalist.
I'm going to drop you all backstage. We'd like everybody a wave off before you go. That'll be great. And we'll see you all again soon. There we go. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Right. Yep. So there we go. Done our 2 hours again this evening. So thanks to everybody who's commented in the chat and asked questions and referenced things we've been talking to. It's always good. You are essentially the extra member of the panel who isn't actually on the panel. But that's how it works. You know, we always like to have people's contributions as part of this. It's all very, very instrumental to what we do. And we hope we'll be back with us again in 2 weeks' time, on the 22nd of January, for our next tNb episode number 72. Don't know what we're doing yet, but if you'd like to be a guest, or indeed on any of the ones we're doing afterwards, which as you'll see at the bottom, it'll be the 5th of February and the 19th of February, drop me a line. Email address is going through now. And if you want to talk about something in particular, let me know, and we'll see if we can try and work something out. So 22nd of January, 5th of February, 19th of February. Get in contact, retrobear1975@gmail.com. Be glad to hear from you if you'd like to come on and be a guest. Right, brilliant. So thanks very much indeed for your time again. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Until then, take care, mind what you're doing, and we'll chat to you again very soon. And I'm going to go watch the 49ers now.